Hey folks, I'm Rich Brome, and this is a quick tour of the new Moto G7 series of affordable Android phones from Motorola. Motorola's G series has historically offered an excellent value. They offer great specs and features for the money, but more importantly, the design and performance are best in class. As far as I can tell, the G7 series looks set to continue that legacy. Unlike last year's weird lineup, the 2019 Moto G series is easy to understand. The G7 is the fancy one, the G7 Play is the cheap one, and the G7 Power has a humongous battery. They all have fingerprint readers on the back. It's an essential security feature, and I love the way they've integrated it with the Motorola logo. This year, Motorola is all in on the notch. Each model in this series has a different notch shape. The more expensive the phone, the smaller the notch. All three of these phones will come to the US in both unlocked and carrier versions, but only the mid-range G7 Power will come to the big brands like Verizon and T-Mobile, as well as Metro and Cricket. The G7 Power has a large 6.2-inch display and a massive battery that Motorola claims will last 3 whole days. It also has a respectable Snapdragon 632 processor paired with a decent 3 gigs of RAM. The notch is medium size, leaving decent space for indicators at the top. Unfortunately, there's no option to black out the top of the display to hide the notch. The back is glossy plastic that attracts fingerprints and probably scratches too, but otherwise the phone feels excellent. It's a remarkably normal-sized phone. You'd never guess there's such a huge battery inside. The closest model in last year's lineup was the E5 Plus. The main upgrades compared to that model are the better processor and modern USB-C connector. The G7 Play is a nice small size and offers a very iPhone X look, at least from the front, for just $200. Impressively, it also has the same Snapdragon 632 processor as the two pricier models. You also get fast charging and USB-C. I do wish the notch left more room for indicators up top. The dedicated selfie flash is partly to blame. The plastic back has a really nice microtexture that feels great. Mostly, it's a nice upgrade to last year's G6 Play, though it's a shame they made the battery smaller. Both Boost and Virgin will carry the G7 Play. The G7 is the fancy one. It steps up to a full HD display with a svelte teardrop notch. It also has more RAM and a ton more camera features. The curved glass back is very similar to last year's model. It definitely has a premium look and feel. The 12-megapixel camera is higher quality than the other G7 models, and it's aided by a depth camera for an adjustable portrait mode. It's nice and thin, but there is more of a camera hump to accommodate the fancier camera system. Upgrades from last year include the processor, RAM, and 4K video. The interface for all three is a clean version of Android 9 Pie. Motorola's additions consist of the always-on display, the camera app, and a set of shortcuts controlled from the Moto app. The pricier models support more of these shortcuts. Motorola has also kept its special take on the navigation control at the bottom. You can slide the pill-shaped icon up for the recent and suggested apps screen, or left to go back, or right to bounce back to the most recent app. A simple tap takes you home. I much prefer this setup to the mess Google put on its Pixel phones. The camera app is robust. This year they added hyperlapse, auto smile capture, and a fascinating feature that combines multiple shots to create digital zoom without losing resolution or sharpness. I like the automatic shortcut to the most recent special mode. The G7 also comes in a fetching white color. It will be available for Google Fi, or you can pick it up unlocked from Best Buy, Walmart, or Amazon this spring. The G7 phones all look well designed and seem like a good value. Look for them this spring, which typically means April through June.